Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew Santowski. I'm giving you my UFC Fight Night Gane versus Tuivasa early leans. This event takes place in 6 days. Saturday, September 3rd, 2022. Starts at noon. It's going down in Paris. First time UFC's in France. Awesome, man. France was way overdue to approve MMA, man. France has some really good UFC talent coming out of it now. Some really great MMA fighters. We have Aries FC. That's, got some really good talent. There were some other French fighters that were supposed to fight on this card that didn't end up going down, as Taylor Lapalus, who was a UFC vet himself, but he had to pull out. And, Czech Congo, man, that's really the first French fighter I remember. We had Thibaut Goudy in the UFC for a little while. Cecily Ledon, back in the day. So, it's finally going down. Just giving you my early leans, guys, for some of these fights. I'm not really up on some of the fighters, but I'm still going to give my early take on it. But, yeah, like I said, I love when the UFC has a Labor Day card. I love the one they had 6 years ago in Germany. Arlovsky against Barnett. That was a great card. A lot of talent on that card. Jack Hermanson made his UFC debut on that. Remember that fondly. But, and then I know they had the Till versus Brunson Labor Day card last year, and so I'm kind of glad that they've stuck with this, and they're making this a regular thing. Hopefully they continue this in the future. Labor Day is always a great holiday in the States. But let's get into this. This card. First fight up, we have two guys making their debut, and I do not know anything about either of these guys. William Gomis against Jarno Ahrens. One guy from the Netherlands, one guy from France. William Gomis. Looks like he's an Aries product. So, like I said, we know Francis Ngannou's old coach Ferdinand Lopez. We know he runs and owns that promotion. And this guy's on a nice win streak here, and he's got a lot of first round finishes, a lot of finishes on his record period. So we got a guy coming from the Netherlands. We don't see a lot of talent coming out of the Netherlands these days. Now that Overeem's not in the UFC, now that Stefan Struve isn't in the UFC. We've seen that he's fought for Brave. He beat Max Koga, which is a good featherweight on the European circuit. So he's got some wins here. But like I said, I'm going to side with the French product here in Gomis. He's currently sitting at a minus 210, I believe, on BetOnline. Yes, he is. So my pick will be Gomis here to pick up the win. Ellen Perez against Stephanie Egger. This fight is taking place at featherweight. Ellen Perez, she was supposed to take on another French girl here that's fought a couple times in the UFC. She's 27, 2-fight win streak. Like I said, she's Argentinian. 65.7 inch reach, 5'5", so she's really short, man. Very short reach, especially for that weight class. Stephanie Egger, she normally fights at bantamweight, 5'6", 68 inch reach, so she will have a reach advantage here. She tapped that armbar to Maria Bueno Silva in her last fight, which was earlier this month in August. I'm gonna go with Egger here with the UFC experience to pick up this win. She is a hefty favorite right here on BetOnline, though. She's currently sitting at as a minus 330. I don't think any women's fight really warrants that, but I'm going to side with Egger here nonetheless to pick up the win. Kelly Taha against Christian Quinones. We've seen this guy on the Contender Series. He hasn't fought since October. Picked up a decision win over Long Zhao. He looked okay doing it. Khalid Taha, 2-fight losing streak. I did think the guy looked good in some of his fights. No shame in losing to Morozov and Barcelos. I think I actually side with Taha here, man. I actually picked against him right now, but I am going to side with Khalid Taha as I was kind of high on this guy. I believe this guy did knock out Boston Salmon back in the day. Let me take a look. Yeah, he did. Way back in the day. We're talking about 3.5 years ago, but I remember that. So he ended all the hype on Boston Salmon in the UFC. Benoit Saint-Denis against Gabriel Miranda. Man, Saint-Denis really impressed me in his debut against Elizu Zaleski. Looked really good in my opinion, man. He took a beating, but he just showed so much heart. He's got a terrific ground game. Beat Nicolas Stolze in his last fight. No surprise there. Like I said, Benoit Saint-Denis, he's a finisher, man, and he finds a way to win. And I think he showed a lot of heart against Zaleski. Zaleski's a very well-rounded guy. And Saint-Denis showed a lot of heart. And he's going up against Gabriel Miranda, who's making his UFC debut. So a lot of guys making their debut here. He's got an MMA Masters. Never heard of Face the Danger promotion, but this is what he's out of. And I just think this is, they're setting up a win here for Saint-Denis here. So my pick will be Saint-Denis. Pick up the win here. Nasruddin Imavov against Joaquin Buckley. Again, I'm not really high on Buckley, guys. I'm actually surprised that he's picked up his last 2 wins. I'm surprised that he beat Albert Duraev, and I'm surprised that he beat Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I would have been against this guy both those times. He had a comeback finish against Arroyo. I'm just not high on Buckley, guys. I'm sorry. I just do not believe in this guy. And I think they're putting him against a guy that's really going to, end Buckley's hype train in Imavov. This guy, I thought he was supposed to come in and make his debut at welterweight, but he stuck around at 185. And this guy, I mean, he's ending the hype on a lot of guys, man. He sent Jordan Williams down to welterweight. He sent Jordan Williams down to welterweight, who's no longer in the UFC. Lost to Phil Hawes. No shame in that. Beat Ian Heinisch, kind of ended the hype on Heinisch, and beat Edmund Shabazian and sent Shabazian training to a whole new camp. So we haven't seen this guy in almost a year. I'm glad to see him coming back, and I really think Imavov's going to pick up the win here against Buckley. Firas Ziam against Michael Figlet. Figlet, a Cage Warrior veteran, I believe. Don't really know a lot about the guy, but he seems to be a pretty consistent winner. So, like I said, he's taking this fight on short notice against Firas Ziam. And I'm going to side with Ziam here, man. I'm going to trust this guy's UFC experience to pick up the win here. It's really hard to look good against this guy. He's got a tall reach. Or he's got a tall frame and a long reach for this weight class. 6'1", 155, 75-inch reach. Unbelievable. Lost to Terrence McKinney. We know how good McKinney is in the first round. No shame in that. Beat Vendramini. Beat Jamie Malarkey, who's a really good, underrated 155er. Lost to Don Madge in his UFC debut 3 years ago. I'm not taking anything away from that, guys. I'm going to side with Ziam to pick up the decision win here. Dustin Stolfus against Abu Magomedov. Don't know much about Magomedov. This guy's been slated to make his debut for a while. He hasn't fought in a long time. And, I'm going to side with the guy here. But it's hard to have any real confidence in him because Dustin Stolfus, if you don't put this guy away, he's going to be there plugging away. So I will not be surprised at all if Dustin Stolfus picks up the win here. Plus, he has the UFC experience under his belt. Charles Jourdain against Nathaniel Wood. I'm going to side with Nathaniel Wood here. Guys, you know what? I'm actually going to side with Michael Figlet here. I don't know. Something's just telling me. I'm going to side with Figlet here to get the win, man. Maybe his experience does, even though he's got some regional experience, I think I'm going to pick him here to get the win over Ziam. Charles Jourdain against Nathaniel Wood. Great fight here, man, at featherweight. Both these guys making a quick turnaround from their last fight. Jourdain, he's coming off a tough loss to Shane Burgos, man, in a fight that some people believe he could have won. Shane Burgos, we know he's fighting at lightweight in the PFL now. He hasn't made his debut, but he's left the UFC. Burgos, very young in his career, but he's got a lot of UFC fights. A lot of good wins on his record. He's a tough fighter. Nathaniel Wood just moved up to featherweight, and I'm going to side with him here, man. I just think that maybe the move up to featherweight is going to benefit this guy. And I think he's a barking dog in this fight. And I think This has the potential to be a very exciting fight. I'm going to side with Wood here. Nasrat Haqparast against John McDessie. This fight was, man, these guys got some bad blood between each other. I don't know if it's what happened at TriStar or exactly what happened here. We know McDessie doesn't train there anymore. I'm not sure what Nasrat's training. I'm going to set right Nasrat here. He's just a younger fighter. Yes, he took a beating against Bobby Green in his last fight, but still, I just think Nasrat's the better fighter than John McDessie. And I'm going to side with Nasrat here. Alessio Di Chirico against Roman Kopylov. I'm going to side with Kopylov here, guys. No, guys, actually, I'm going to side with Ziam in that Fightful fight. I'm going to stick with my pick with Ziam. I'm just going to side with his UFC experience. I think it's going to be a decision win, and it can go to either guy. But I'm going to stay with Ziam here. Di Chirico against Kopylov. I like this. This is a pick 'em fight. I like Kopylov here. You know, Di Chirico hasn't fought since he got knocked out against Razak Al-Hassani a year ago. Kopylov, he's 0-2 in the UFC. Fought a really hard fight against Dariv in his last fight, but he showed a lot of heart, and I just think Kopylov's the better fighter here. I think Di Chirico's long in the tooth in his UFC career. I think this is potentially a loser-leave town fight. I think the UFC knows what they have in Di Chirico. He's an inconsistent fighter. He's gotten some, you know, a lot of his wins are by decision, not really a finisher. He did finish Buckley, who was also on this card, ironically. But like I said, I'm not really high on Buckley, man. But I mean, I was kind of high in this guy when he made his UFC debut in 2016 against Bohan Velikovic. But you know, those days are gone, man. I had a max bet on him against Jareth McClowan. He came through with that, but that was a huge sweat. Beat Bambozi, beat Marquez, but like I said, this is earlier on in his career, and then he hasn't fought consistently. He's lost a lot of fights. I'm just not really high on Di Chirico. I think he does have the wrestling advantage here, but I'm just gonna side with the more dangerous guy, and I believe that is Roman Kopylov here in this to pick up the win. Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori. Great fight, guys, man. Two of the top 5 middleweight talents right here. Probably the top 3, you know, the number 2 and number 3 guys in the 185-pound division. And unlike a lot of guys, I'm going to take Robert Whittaker here to pick up the decision. But, man, nothing will shock me, man. These are 2 top talents at middleweight. Guys, both these guys have fought Adesanya twice apiece. I mean, that's just telling you, man, what gamers these guys are, man. What top talent they are. And we're getting to witness this as a co-main event. Like I said, guys, man, we're so appreciative to get to watch, you know, just top talent, man. I mean, these guys aren't going to be around forever. Robert Whittaker seems like he's been around forever, man. Forever at, you know, at welterweight, at middleweight. I mean, just seeing this guy rise up at middleweight, man, seeing him go on that title run the first time is just, it's incredible, man. Friggin' incredible, man. From the time he moved up to middleweight in 2014 to the time he claimed that belt in 2017. So yeah, when he beat Romero, I believe that was for the vacant belt. Yep, interim middleweight championship. You know, but man, it's just to see this guy, man, to see the guy go on the run he's went on, man, it's absolutely amazing, man. I got so many fond memories of Robert Whittaker. Marvin Vettori, another great fighter, coming off a nice win over Costa, which was so long ago, you know. I believe that was last October, so it's been almost a year since we've seen Vettori back in the octagon. But you know, that was a tough fight against Costa, and that was at 205. Well, my pick will be Whittaker, but like I said, Marvin Vettori picking the win here, or getting the win, is not going to shock me either. Gane against Tuivasa. This fight's tailor-made for Gane here, in my opinion. It's just probably the most well-rounded heavyweight prospect we've seen in a long time. He's a main event fighter, 32 years old, coming off a loss to Ngannou. And I did have Ngannou winning rounds 3, 4, and 5 of that fight, and I did believe Ngannou deserved the win, and that was all based off takedowns, man. Gane was winning the stand-up in that fight. He won rounds 1 and 2 to that title fight. So he's had a lot of time off. Should look good at this fight. And I can see I'll probably getting Tuivasa out of there once Tuivasa gets tired. Tuivasa, man, what a career resurgence this guy's having. This guy looked like he was getting cut from the UFC. He was on a 3-fight skid for a while. Now he's on a 5-fight winning streak. And he's looked really good, man. He took out Derek Lewis in his last fight. But, you know, we just seen Lewis get finished again by Sergey Pavlovich. But my pick will be Gane here. So, guys, I'm going to run down my picks here. Gane, Whittaker, Kopylov, Haqparast, Wood, Magomedov, Ziam, Imavov, Saint-Denis. I'm going to pick Taha here, Edgar, and Gomis. And these are just my early leans, guys. I will probably do an official prediction video day of.